Hi, you're watching Houston Media Source, and we are at the Parish School, which provides early language intervention and individualized instruction for students. The campus is modeled after a Central Texas campsite, and each building, in fact, is a cottage. So the facility provides a really creative environment where children can learn, develop their social skills in a fun and unique way. Today, we are going to learn about Adventure Play, an after-school program that is offered here at the Parish School. So join me and let's go explore the Parish School. So I'm with Jill Wood, the librarian and director of Adventure Play here at the Parish School, and we're sitting in the library. Jill, will you tell us about the Parish School and why it's modeled after a cottage type of camp?
Sure. We were started by Robin Parrish, and she wanted an environment that was welcoming and comfortable for children who may have had difficulty in a typical school setting. So she wanted to create a space that referenced more of a camp feel than an institutional or school environment, so that the children came in without that association. And we specialize in early language intervention for children with language and learning differences. And so the children here all have really wonderful learning potential, but need a different sort of setting. So they need a smaller classroom environment, ratio of teacher to student. They need a multisensory learning environment, so not just paper and reading and writing, but hands-on learning experiences, and that's what we do.
So one of the unique programs here is Adventure Play. Tell us about that.
Adventure Playground is an after-school program that's modeled after playgrounds that exist in Europe mostly. There are 40 adventure playgrounds in the City of London. They're spaces where children create their own play, where they're in charge of their own time and their own space. They can build structures. There's a lot more freedom in those environments, and so it's a good fit for the way our children at the Parish School learn. They can learn by doing instead of by, having things explained in words. And our Adventure Playground is also a great place because it's self-motivated. So children decide what they learn and when and how. And so it's self-determined, and that's really important to the children at the school because in a lot of environments they may have felt alienated by the way things are taught or presented to them, and so here they can do it in the way that best suits them.
When we were playing outside with the children, they came alive the moment that they were in the Adventure Play area. How do you see the kids developing their skills through Adventure Play? Because certainly they're behaving a little bit different than in the classroom. You were telling me this earlier.
Yeah. There's a lot of sense of ownership on Adventure Playground, and the children feel invested in the space and each other, and that extra little motivation can push them to do things that are normally difficult for them. So we see all the time that kids will interact with peers a lot more on Adventure Playground because they know they have 2.5 hours, they can do it at their leisure, they can test things out, and there's no failure, and that's a really important part of the program.
I was really intrigued by the fact that you start out Adventure Play with community meetings.
Yeah.
Tell us about the community meetings.
Community meetings were something that we developed early on because our children do have difficulty with certain language-based social skills. So everyone does, but in a lot of our children there will be some some delays in figuring out cues from peers or in figuring out what people are saying to them. So our community meeting is a way for the kids to talk to each other and explain things to each other without the distraction of moving around or a lot of noise and wind and other sensory input. So we kind of just created this safe, quiet space at the beginning where they can communicate what they need to communicate to each other, and then, boom, go off and play.
How many programs like this are in place in Houston?
There are no other today, but there were 4 in Houston in the 70s through the 90s. And there used to be a Houston Adventure Playground Association, and it was a really lively community of people that supported this kind of child-directed play. There isn't as much of it now, but there are 4 left in the U.S., and one in Berkeley, one in Huntington Beach, one in Ithaca, New York, and I think there's one in Mercer Island in Washington State, and then us.
So it's a really unique feature for Houston. Yeah. And the good news is that this is a program that's open to all children in Houston, right?
It is. We accept students from other schools. We encourage it and would love to have you. If you're out there, there's a simple admissions process where you just sort of contact our school and they can guide you to me.
So where can people get more information about the Parish School and the Adventure Play program?
They can go to our website, which is www.parishschool.org. And you can find information about both the school in general and the Adventure Playground program.
Jill, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jill Wood, and I'm the Director of Adventure Playground at the Parish School. And this is our community meeting area where we meet at the beginning of Adventure Playground. The kids come and talk about the ideas that they're going to build or the games they're going to play. We also learn about social skills and resolve conflict. And then we get started with our play. Okay, we're here at the Adventure Playground art car. And the theme of our art car, this is a project that the children built, and the theme is the fire truck. But it also is supposed to go into the ground and into space. And the idea is that children can create whatever they want on an Adventure Playground. It's a child-directed environment. And this was a child's idea that we wanted to realize. And so when she said she wanted a fire truck, we want her to know that you can build a fire truck. That anything that children can do, pretty much anything adults can do. It might take a little more time, it might take more helpers because things are heavy, but eventually you can make something like this. So that was the idea behind it, and it is a hotbed of activity.
What kinds of materials were used to create the art car?
Everything in the art car is found or donated. So a lot of it came from the City of Houston Reuse Warehouse or Heavy Trash Day in my neighborhood. And the spool comes from, we're in sort of an industrial area, and a lot of our neighbors will donate spools or barrels to us. And the idea is that if things aren't precious, if things appear sort of junky in a way. Adventure playgrounds used to be called junk playgrounds, that if they're not precious, children really can take liberty with them and they can make whatever they need to make. So if you buy something and it's pristine, children might not feel like they can do whatever they need to do with it. So that's part of what we do. So here we have the zip line, and it was in response to someone asking if they could fly. And so we wanted to figure out a way for children to fly. And as we're walking around, you can see our outdoor sink that actually was built mostly by children. And we dug a trench in the ground and did the plumbing, and so they learned about the engineering pieces, and they were highly motivated because it was their sink and they wanted it.
I am joined by Nancy Bewley, the head of school here at the Parish School. Nancy, what is the mission of the school?
The mission of the Parish School is to identify, educate, and empower children who have language and learning differences. About 10% of the childhood population actually experiences some sort of communication disorder or delay. And we are here in the Houston area to specialize in helping those children and support them through their learning process.
We've explored the Adventure Play program throughout the day. What does this program mean for Houston?
Oh my gosh, Adventure Play is a gift to Houston and the children in the community, not for just the parish school students, but for the community in general. It goes back to the very basics of play when you and I were maybe children, and we didn't have manufactured playscapes for us, but we use the things around our environment to really develop our creativity, to develop our ideas, to explore, to be curious and creative. And for many of the children at the parish school who struggle in a classroom setting, when they go outdoors and they have the materials and the freedom, their personalities just blossom, and their learning and their confidence and their self-esteem just improves.
Well, we saw a lot of their personalities come through when we were interacting with the kids outside. And surely the folks that are watching this right now probably want to get in on some of that action for their children. So do you offer any programs where students from all over Houston can come to the parish school?
Absolutely. We have a summer camp program, Camp Acorn, that is offered for the month of June. And it can be a half-day participation in the program, or it can be full day. And it is for children that specifically have language and learning differences, as well as for their siblings and children who are just interested in coming to a fun summer camp that embraces not only the indoors, but certainly embraces the outdoors.
And again, more information about the camp is available at parishschool.org. Nancy, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
So tell us about the Sandlot.
Oh yeah. So the sand area looks a little different than a lot of sand pits. But the idea behind adventure playgrounds is that they're based on loose parts. And you'll hear a lot of play workers, the adults who work on adventure playgrounds, talk about that. The idea is that if you have a tire, it can be a stage, it can be a place to hide things, it can be something you can stand on to make you taller, it can be something you roll, it can be whatever a child needs. But if you have a car and you buy a car that's pre-made, it's just a car, and it's always a car. So we have lots of loose parts in our sand area. We have mostly found things that we either find on heavy trash day or find at the reuse warehouse. And actually, the first people who wrote about adventure playgrounds wrote about sand and beaches, because they're ephemeral places where children create things and then they disappear and they keep creating. So there's not that preciousness of having to make something an object or having to produce something. And that's a huge part of adventure play. We don't worry that things look perfect. We don't worry that, we aren't grading anything. When kids are done, they've made something and they might want to take it apart. They might need the parts for something else, or it might be something they use for weeks. They decide that. This is our battleship, and it's made out of pallets. And the children wanted a 2-story ship to play in. It's great. It's got lots of hidey holes and places where the kids can stash precious things that they find. You can see the stairs are made just out of tires and plywood that we found. So it teaches the children that you don't need expensive things to make your vision a reality. So this is the tall grass area, and it's a child's wonderland. There are blackberries out there, there's passion fruit, all kinds of things, and the children are allowed to go explore. And the other big part of adventure playgrounds is that they're about freedom. So children, we talk about them a lot as compensatory spaces, that when we were children, we used to come home from school and be able to do
whatever we want.
Whatever we wanted. And so children don't have that opportunity as much anymore. They're very scheduled and very attended to by adults. And this is sort of somewhere in between, where the children have freedom, but we can create a safe environment for them. And through that freedom, they build a lot of skills. So they're building, they're getting to know themselves, they're getting to know each other, they're getting to build community. It's all important.
Oh, yes, she did.
We make drawings. Yep, we do everything. Okay? Is that good?
So as you can tell, the kids really love adventure play. It has so much to offer in terms of all the diverse playtime activities. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Houston Media Source at the Parish School. More information is available at parishschool.org.